get some stuff set up here on this end. That way. Hopefully this light is okay. Let me do this though. Let me get to this. Thing here. Okay. We'll wait a little bit to get some more people in here. I'm sure people are trickling in. 8 o'clock in Ireland right now. 8 o'clock at night. Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about the international participants, but I'd hate to exclude you guys. So, I mean, I want to, of course, but sometimes shipping can be two reasons. Shipping can be kind of pricey, and it also seems like there's been a little bit of issue with like shipping to like Europe and from America over. Like a lot of packages have been getting like held for a long time, but I'm gonna say yes. Anyone can participate. It's 2,000 subscribers. I don't want to exclude anybody. So yeah, everyone join in. Got my mic. This is a mic stand over here, by the way, in case you're wondering. Like, what is that thing sticking up over there? So, like I said, people are still be trickling in here. We have 9 people in here right now. That's great. So maybe if we get it up to like over 10, then we'll start this whole situation here. So I'll probably explain it. I have to explain it again when more people come, but just so you all know what's going on right now. We're going to have a little bit of a trivia contest. I've written out 10 questions. They are all have to do with the Beatles, of course. And I think the most fair way to do this is I will ask all 10 questions, and there'll be a time limit. So what you should do is, as I'm asking the questions, write down your answer. So it'll be like for each question, write down your answer. And then after the time limit, when I say like, okay, that's the end of the trivia, you have, we'll say, I don't know, 10 minutes to send an email to my Needle Meets Vinyl email account. And then I will check, and for everyone who got all 10 right, if only one person got all 10 right, that's the winner. But if there are more than one person who got all 10 right, then I'll have to do a random selection of who will get the prize. And then we'll do it that way. Because if we were going to do it like, I was thinking about, we could just do it in the chat where I would ask the question, and whoever had the first correct answer in the chat would get that right. But then I was thinking, it's more fair to do it where just 10 questions, you answer it on your own, send me the email, then I'll check in, all that kind of stuff. So that's how we'll be doing it. I need to pay attention to the chat much more because I'm definitely not doing that. So let me try to catch up here with some of the chatting going on. Just a lot of people saying hello, which hello to all of you. Very exciting to have a lot of you in all over the globe tuning in. That's really, really cool. Hi, Kevin. Okay, we have 10 people in here, but I feel like we should maybe wait a little bit longer. So if you want to participate in this trivia contest, stick around. And we'll probably, let's say we'll get started with the trivia in about 5 minutes. So like 12:10 my time here out here in California. So just hang in there, is what I'm trying to say. Let's look at some of the stuff you could win. The two best prizes, I would say. First off, you could win this stereo pressing with the Beatles, and this is I think it's like a 1978 UK pressing. So it's cut from the original stereo master tape. Sounds really, really good. And obviously, I prefer the mono when it comes to this album, but the stereo does sound good as well, especially this particular pressing. So pretty cool prize. The other record that will be part of by the way, this is all stuff you get all together. The other part of the package will be the Beatles Rarities album. And this is also from like the same year. These both come from one of the blue boxes, by the way, that was released in, I think, 1978. And these are early pressings when it comes to the blue box. This is the Beatles Rarities album. And obviously, every single song on here is fantastic. And both of these, by the way, were cut by Harry T. Moss. HTM is in the Dead Wax. And for those of you that know about my channel, you know how much I really, really like Harry T. Moss and the work he did with these Beatles pressings. And yes, I will. Yes, that will be the email, needlemeetsvinyl@gmail.com, and I will. I'll post that in the chat so everyone will have access to that. But yes, that will be the email. And then some of the other little fun things I've thrown into this Beatle package. And my chair is very squeaky, so if you hear squeaking, it's the chair. A pack of Beatles pencils. Yes, official Beatles pencils. These were released in 2014 by Apple Corps. And they're kind of just fun little pencils you can do whatever you want with. And then this is a cool John Lennon art exhibit book. So this was an art exhibit that was held, I believe, in Italy. And it's just like a little, it's not even a pamphlet, it's an actual legitimate book. And it just shows basically everything that was in the art exhibit. And there was a bunch of stuff up for sale, like some of John's original prints here. And it's just a very, very cool book. And it comes with a CD, which is kind of interesting. And the CD has excerpts of John reading some of his short stories from like In His Own Right and A Spaniard in the Works and stuff like that. So pretty cool thing here. And then last but not least, you could win this A Hard Day's Night tin sign. I don't know if it's actually tin, but whatever it is, some kind of metal sign that you can hang on your wall. And it's a pretty cool little something to have. Hello, Winston. Nice to see everybody in here. So in about 2 minutes, we will start the trivia, and hopefully we'll have a bit of fun with it. I tried to make the questions pretty difficult, just because, I don't know, the stuff I'm giving away is pretty cool, and I thought it'd be more fun to make it difficult as opposed to like just having a question like, I don't know, what's Paul McCartney's real name, stuff like that, stuff that most Beatle fans will know. I figured, let's not do that. Let's make it a little bit more challenging, especially because I know a lot of you in here are big-time Beatle fans, and I think it's more fun to make it a bit of a challenge. So, if you don't know, by the way, this is where I am currently in my bedroom, my wife and I's bedroom, and decided to do it in here today just to kind of mix it up and make it a little different, so you can have a different view of things, right? So there are records in this room, by the way, but they're all down here on my record shelf. So this is like my desk where I do all my video editing and general internet browsing. And the other room where I make my videos is the room, I guess it would be behind you, in that room over there. Is this interesting to any of you that I'm telling you about our house here? It's probably not. That's okay. Okay, well, it's now 12:10 my time. I don't know what that would be for your time, because a lot of you are in different parts of the world right now. But my time, it's 12:10. That means let's do trivia. So here we go. Now let me go over again the quote unquote rules. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to read 10 trivia questions, and what you need to do is have either a piece of paper or maybe on your phone or whatever, be able to write down your answers to these questions, and then after the trivia is all done, you will send all of your answers to my email, and then I'll look at all the emails. And by the way, we will have like a time limit. So after the contest is done, I think there'll be probably like maybe a 20-minute or 15-minute time limit. So you have to send it within that time period. And I will look over all the emails, and whoever got all of the questions correct, or the most number of questions correct, if no one got all of them right, then they will be the winner. Now, if there obviously are more than one person answers all of them correct, I'll have to do either maybe a tiebreaker, or I'll just choose at random. I'll do like a number generator in Google or something, and I'll try to make it as fair as possible. So that's how we're going to do it. And don't worry, I will be posting my email in here. In fact, I'll do it right now just so it's in the chat, but I'll post it again so you all will have access to that. Okay, so let's start the trivia. And like I said earlier, if you're just tuning in, these questions are pretty difficult, or at least I think they're pretty difficult. And it's all about the Beatles. So it's a Beatles trivia quiz here. And what we're doing today is we're just celebrating the fact that, or I'm celebrating the fact that I got 2,000 subscribers, which I didn't think I would first of all, I didn't think I'd ever have a YouTube channel. I'm not the kind of person who likes to to make videos or be on camera, but yet here I am. And all because of records, of course, because I love talking about records and that kind of stuff. So the fact that, I even have 100 people that care about this, let alone 2,000, is pretty amazing. So we're celebrating that and just having a good old time. So trivia, starting now. Here we go. Let me get the questions up over here. Now, are we all ready? If in the chat, I know it's a little delayed here. Give me I don't know, type the letter B if you're ready to start the trivia. I'll wait. Video might be a little frozen, it looks like. I'm watching this on the other end here. Nice, okay. William, Saul, Potato, Winston. Okay, cool. So everyone's ready for this. So here we go. Question number 1. So what you want to do is you want to write this down in an email, and that's how it's going to work. Question number 1. What Beatles 8-track album edits and extends a song by looping its end section several times? I'll read that one more time. So we're already starting off with a pretty difficult question. Question is, what Beatles 8-track album edits and extends a song by looping its end section several times? So to make it fit on the actual 8-track, they had to extend a song. So write that down. Question number 1. By the way, I have talked about that on one of my videos on my channel. So if you've been a subscriber for a while, you're aware of that. I went through a little bit of an 8-track phase. I still like 8-tracks, by the way. They're fun to collect. All right. I kind of want to talk about that right now, but I don't want to give away the answer, so I won't talk about it. And by the way, I tried to make most of these questions questions that you couldn't really Google all that. It wasn't too easy to just Google the answer. Okay. Question number 2, and by the way, at the very end of this, I will repeat any question that anyone needs to have repeated. So don't worry. It's not like, this isn't like school or something where you got to pay that close attention. But you got to pay a little bit of attention. Okay. Question number 2. Here we go. Which box set contains the only official CD release of the original 1965 stereo mixes of Help and Rubber Soul? I'll read that again. Which box set contains the only official CD release of the original 1965 stereo mixes for Help and Rubber Soul? This is probably the easiest question, I would say. So if it freaks you out, you can keep playing, but I think they're only going to get harder. I went over these, by the way, with my wife, who is a absolute true Beatles fan, and some of them stumped her as well. So don't feel bad if some of these are just kind of crazy. Let me take a sip of water. I don't really host game shows all that often, so I feel like I'm yelling a little bit. I'll try to not yell. Okay. Bob F asks, what two Beatles songs start with the same four words? I don't know. That's a good question. I was thinking that maybe let's see. Not I want to hold your hand or I want to tell you, because obviously that's just the first three words. I'll have to think about that. But let's move on to question number 3. Now, am I going too slow, too fast? Let me know. I'm not trying to... yeah. I should have known that. That's a good question, Bob. Okay. Question number 3. New evidence reveals Ringo's song Don't Pass Me By from the White Album had only 2 Beatles on the recording. Which 2 Beatles and which one of them is playing drums on the track? So the question again is, new evidence reveals that Ringo's song Don't Pass Me By has only 2 Beatles playing on it. So you need to tell me which 2 Beatles, and of those 2, which one is playing the drums? There you go. I hope this is all going through. My computer here seems to be having some trouble with the stream, but if you all are able to see the stream, then that's fine. So, moving on to question number 4. Here we go. Based on my videos and website, what is the one Beatles album that I've yet to have for sale? Now, I'm talking about the core catalog. So, like the official UK albums from Please Please Me all the way to Let It Be. So not talking about compilations, not talking about albums released after 1970, just the core Beatles albums. There's only one that I have not listed for sale on my website or made like a specific video talking about how I'm selling this particular album. So what album is that? Again, that's a question where you have to be a pretty solid follower of this channel to know what that would be. All right. And just so is the video feed okay for everybody? Are we having any like pausing or anything like that? I want it to be as clear as possible. On my end here, I'm looking at it on another monitor as well, and it's currently a little bit slow, it seems like. let's see. Okay, the feed is good. Awesome. Okay, let's keep going then. Question number 5. Who took the famous butcher cover photo? Name the photographer that took the Beatles butcher cover photo. And not the one that was pasted over, but the actual photo where they're all wearing their butcher outfits with the meat on them and stuff. The actual butcher cover. Name that photographer. Kind of an easy one, I suppose. Okay, question number 6. We're going to go a little bit faster here, I think, now that I know that the feed is okay. Number 6. Name the recording engineer on the first 6 Beatles albums. So, Please Please Me with the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, and Rubber Soul all had the exact same recording engineer. Name that recording engineer. I guess he's the head engineer is what you'd call him. Okay, moving on. Question number 7. Here we go. Number 7. During the famous rooftop concert, name the last song the Beatles played on the rooftop. Just need the song title there. By the way, I hope that when they release this alleged Get Back / Let It Be box set that's supposedly coming out maybe this next year, hope they have the full rooftop concert on there. Here's the hoping, right? That would be a huge misstep if they didn't do that. What song on what album was slowed down to its original mono mix when the stereo came out? Are you She's Leaving Home? Or Don't Pass Me By? Okay. So, for those of you maybe who just joined, we are having a trivia contest right now, and you want to write down your answers in an email that you're going to send to me after this is all done, and that's how you could possibly win. Moving on now, let's go to question number 8. And again, I will repeat any of these that need to be repeated for anyone towards the end here. And here we go. Question number 8. As I hold the number 2 for some reason, I don't know. Number 8. Name the George Harrison song recorded during the White Album sessions, but ultimately not used. So it was recorded during the White Album, but they didn't put it on the White Album. The George song. Hey, Mr. Biscuits, you can still pick up Let It Be Naked. I'm pretty sure they still are pressing Let It Be Naked. If you're looking for the vinyl edition of that, I'm pretty sure they still have that available. I could be wrong about that, but I think I've seen that around online and even maybe in some stores. I think maybe I saw it at like Barnes & Noble way before the pandemic happened. Bob F says, Bob says a friend of his is obsessive compulsive about his Beatles albums, and he has all of them but one. and you think he needs help, I now get the joke. He has all of them but one. You think he needs help. I got that. Okay, moving on to question number 9. When I said that, did you all immediately think about Revolution 9 and the voice saying number 9 over me? Because I know I did. But I'm not going to do it. I thought about it. But I decided against it. Question number 9. In 1969, John Lennon attempted to release a single under the Plastic Ono band, but it actually was going to have 2 Beatles songs as the A side and the B side. Name both of those songs. Again, I'll read that. I'll say that again. This is question number 9. In 1969, John Lennon attempted to release a single under the Plastic Ono band name, but the songs were actually Beatles songs on the A side and the B side. It never got released, but name those 2 songs that were going to be on this single. And it's a bit of a tricky question, I suppose. Okay, and the last question, here we go. Number 10, this is a true or false question. True or false? True or false? Every single Beatles record pressing sounds exactly the same. They all sound the same. It doesn't matter which one you get. True or false? Every single Beatles pressing sounds exactly the same. It's just a bit of a joke, folks, but you have to answer it. True or false? And no, that is not a subjective question. There is a definite it's definitely true or it's definitely false. Okay, so those were the 10 questions. Now again, what you need to do is in an email that you will send to my needlemeetsvinyl@gmail.com, which I will put in the chat right now. And my chair is very squeaky, so if you're wondering what those noises are, my chair is squeaking. That's the email you want to send. You want to send your answers to, and by the way, if you only knew the answer to whatever 8 of the 10, just send the email anyway, and whoever has the most questions answered correct will win the prize, this little Beatle package I put together. And obviously, if more than one person answers all 10 correct, then I'll have to do a random drawing there. And by the way, when you send the email, also send your mailing address in there as well, if you want to, or you can wait until I pick the winner, and then I will email you back and ask for your mailing address as well. Does anybody need any of the questions asked once more? I'd be happy to read off any of the questions. Just let me know, and I will do that. Repeat number 1. Yes, I can do that. No problem. Okay, repeating question number 1. This is again question number 1. What Beatles 8-track album edits and extends a song by looping its end section several times? So name the album that has that on it, the 8-track album. Wildstar, you'd like me to repeat the I think question number 9 about the Plastic Ono Band single, the possible single? I'll repeat that anyway. So repeating question number 9. Question number 9, again, is in 1969, John Lennon attempted to release a single under the Plastic Ono Band name, but the songs on the single were actually Beatles recordings on the A and the B side. The question is, name those two songs, the A and the B side. Potato asks, what is the B-side to I Want to Hold Your Hand? And the answer to that is This Boy. Although if you're talking about the US release, it's I Saw Her Standing There, of course. But the UK release is This Boy. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Does anyone need any of the other questions repeated? I'd be happy to do it. And what we'll do now, though, in question number 2, would a US mix from 65 count? No, we're looking for the UK editions of those mixes. So I'll help you out right now. It's not the Beatles Capitol box sets. It's not, although I like where your brain's going. It's not these. Question number 2, it's not these boxes. I happen to have them handy to me because literally the iPad is resting on my CD box sets right now. So not these for question number 2. Sorry to get so close to the camera there. I just shaved, by the way, so I got a little bit of a... I don't feel like I look like myself, but what can you do? Repeat question number 1 one last time. No problem. Question number 1. What Beatles 8-track, so 8-track cassette, what Beatles 8-track album edits and extends a song by looping its end section several times in order to make it fit on that actual part of the 8-track? So they had to edit an official Beatles song to make it longer so it will fit better on the 8-track. Name the album. It is a confusing question. I totally agree. Let me try to clear it up a little bit. You just have to name the album that was released on 8-track that edited an official Beatles song to make it longer. That's probably a better way to put it. And I've actually I talked about it in one of my previous videos when I was going through my 8-track collecting. I talked about that specific thing. Sorry if that question was really confusing. I realized that's the very first question, so we got off to like a kind of a whoa, what are these questions? Okay, so if nobody wants me to repeat anymore, but I will repeat some questions if anyone needs us to, or me to. But if we're totally good and everyone feels good about the questions, then I will say send your email within the next 15 minutes, or actually I'll give you to the full hour. So send your email by 1 o'clock my time. So I'm out here in California. So it's 12:34 right now. This video is probably a little bit delayed. Send your email within the next 26 minutes, and you will be then in the running to win. And let's show them what they're going to win if you win. You could win, and this is all going to be shipped in one package all together. This Hard Day's Night tin poster, this John Lennon Italian art exhibit book, comes with a CD, by the way, also. These really cool Beatles pencils that have Beatles song titles written on the actual pencils. These are brand new, by the way. They have not ever been used. And these two Beatles pressings. First off, Beatles Rarities. This is a UK pressing from the mid to late 70s, and it has HTM in the dead wax, Harry T. Moss, who, as I'm sure a lot of you know, I like his pressings. And with the Beatles, stereo pressing, again, from the same time period, UK pressing with Harry T. Moss in the dead wax. Sounds very, very good. And these both come from the Beatles blue box, which I end up buying a lot of those blue boxes, just so I can have, I like a lot of those pressings from those boxes, and I like to have a lot of options to find the best ones, as you probably all know. And so that's why I have these on hand and why I'm giving these away. And yeah, they're not the best sounding pressings, but they sound very, very good, and they're essential to anyone's record collection, I would say. So those are the Beatle items you will get in the Beatle package that I will send to the winner. And hello, Matt, by the way. Thanks for signing on. Let's see. Potato says, have I told you in the comments before that you have a Sgt. Pepper that his granddad picked up the first day? Well, that's very cool. Is it a mono or a stereo? And is it UK or US, or what country is it from? I'd be interested to know that as well. Yeah, mono, that's very cool. Is it UK? Mono UK. Well, you can't, that's fantastic. That's like gold. So hold on. Do you have that, right? Yeah, you do. Okay. Very cool. Well, I hope you have it in a nice plastic sleeve with a nice non-static inner sleeve, and I hope you keep that for years to come and enjoy it, because that's a good one. So, as I'm sure all of you know, we're here celebrating the fact that this channel has 2,000 subscribers, and I really want to thank all of you, by the way, for tuning in. It really does mean a lot to me. I was telling my wife this morning, what if no one tunes in? What if I just have the stream and it's just me? But you guys are all here, and that's really, really nice, and it makes me feel like people care about this channel and the Beatles. And by the way, I have no misconceptions that people are here to get information on the Beatles and to talk about the Beatles, and that's very, very cool. So that's why I'm here. Let's see. Matt says his parents had almost all the Beatles albums when he was a kid, and many would have been first pressings. Love to be able to go back in time. Yeah, I know, right? I think a lot of us have that same story. Luckily, I inherited my parents' record collection. They had all the U.S. albums, of course, because they grew up in the U.S. and I'm out here in the U.S. So I have a really nice collection of the Beatles' U.S. albums from my parents, which is nice to have, of course. David asks, do I like the 2017 mix of Sgt. Pepper? I do like it. I think it's its own thing, of course. I will always prefer the original mono and stereo mixes of Sgt. Pepper. I'll always prefer those. They're the ones that all four Beatles and George Martin and Jeff Emerick signed off on, and all that whole spiel I always give. But I do like the new remixes that Giles Martin did. I think they're cool to have. They're cool. You can hear so many different things going on, and you can hear things with way more clarity, and I love that. So yeah, I think that was really, really good. What happens if nobody gets all 10 questions? That's a good question. Whoever gets the most number of questions correct will then be the winner. So whoever gets, if only one person gets one question right, and that's the person, then they're the winner. And if nobody gets any of them right, then I will just pick a random person everyone who sent the emails will then, I'll randomly choose one, and they'll win it. So there will be a winner, let's just put it that way. Yeah, Matt, I understand. I back when I was first getting the records, when I was like, 13, 14, I didn't take care of the records either. And I have some of my parents that I feel terrible about because I played them on, like a crappy play school record player or something like that. And I think I ruined some of them, but we all make mistakes, right? Let's see. William says, I was able to find a great priced UK white vinyl album. Awesome. And it sounds next level amazing. That's fantastic. Um, um, I've heard the white vinyl pressing of the white album. Isn't I believe though I've heard it's a German pressing that's on the white vinyl is what I've heard, a German white vinyl and a U.S. white vinyl. Um, the U.S. white vinyl unfortunately doesn't sound that great from what I remember. Um, the German one sounded pretty good from my memory. Okay, there's a UK one too. Okay, cool. Do you know what year that was released? Is that like that must be like I would guess like an 80s, a 1980s pressing possibly? The cool thing about the Beatles, obviously, and records in general, is that there are so many pressings. It's like it's impossible to hear every single one. Like you could never in your lifetime get your hands on every single pressing that was ever made because there's so many variants when it comes to pressings. Um, so that's why it's at least that's why it's fun for me to know that there's always going to be something out there that I could still look for and listen to, and I love that aspect of record collecting. Um, let's see. He says, I only have two original Beatles vinyl, Lady Madonna UK single and Twist and Shout Ireland EP. That's still cool though. I mean, like I don't have Twist and Shout Ireland EP. I bet that's probably pretty cool. I bet if it's from the '60s, they probably used the original master tapes for that as well. Probably sounds pretty good. Um, what are my thoughts on Capitol's Green Label from 1969? There are some great pressings on the Green Label. Funny you should say that. Actually, I've been working on this band album, and it's on that Green Label. This one's not in great condition, by the way. But this is on, they call it the Green Target label. That's what a lot of people refer to it as. And this one actually is a Robert Ludwig pressing. But a lot of the Green Target label actually does have a lot of really nice sounding pressings. The Beatle pressings, unfortunately, on the Green Target label are not all that great, in my opinion, because they're all taken from the US master tapes, and some of those are just, they're not the best sounding master tapes that were available at the time. Let's see. The Beatles were supposed to come perform in Israel in 1965. That would have been awesome, but the government didn't allow them. That's a drag. They feared it would destroy the Israeli youth. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, that's terrible. But at least you had the albums and the songs, and apparently it didn't destroy the youth. Probably made them much better. Question 10 was too difficult. Sorry about that. Kevin asks, did you know the Beatles camp did interviews for Let It Be release of the movie 2003, but it was shelved? Yes, I remember reading about that they interviewed like Michael Lindsay Hogg and obviously Paul and Ringo, and I think even Neil Aspinall at the time. But yeah, then they shelved it for whatever reason. Yeah, I would imagine they might use some of those interviews in whatever release that we're going to get, hopefully later this year. So I don't know. We'll see. But I remember reading about that. I remember actually, I think Michael Lindsay Hogg was the one who said that he was interviewed for that particular project at the time. David says, "Me and Mr. Mayo hates Pet Sounds." I know He doesn't like Pet Sounds. That's okay. I mean, the thing about music, right, is that it's just all about what you like. And that's how it should be, by the way. There should be no, even when it comes to something as universally acclaimed as the Beatles, if you don't like the Beatles, that's okay. You just don't like the Beatles. I don't personally understand that. Just like with me, Mr. Mayo, I don't understand how he can't find something about Pet Sounds that he likes, considering he likes the Beatles and so many other artists that are so musical and similar to the Beach Boys in a way, as far as being melodic and just groundbreaking, all that kind of stuff. But he doesn't like it, so that's okay. He can be wrong sometimes. Let's see. Potato says he has a second pressing of the White Album stereo. That's very, very cool. Is that a UK pressing? David wants to know if I could convince me, Mr. Mayo, to like Pet Sounds. We've talked about it before, actually, and in one of these live streams. I think it was either mine or his. We talked about Pet Sounds, and he couldn't be convinced. So I think he did say that he likes God Only Knows, and he likes a couple of other songs, but it's just he doesn't appreciate the album as a whole. Let's see. Steve Miller and Grand Funk are on the Green label. Yes, that's very true. There are a couple of great Steve Miller band pressings on the Green Target label, by the way. Brave New World is one of them. What's my favorite Beatles song to play on guitar? It changes all the time. This morning I was playing I Feel Fine. It's a fun one to play. Just the lick is fun and the guitar solo is really fun. But I constantly change. I actually just recently learned And Your Bird Can Sing, the lead guitar line. I've been playing that a lot, and that's fun to play as well. Bob F asks, do I think the Complete Beatles will ever come out on DVD, VHS, and Laserdisc? Oh yeah, that Complete Beatles. It might. I didn't really like that documentary, to be perfectly honest with you. I remember that for a while there, back in like the late 80s, early 90s, that was like the only documentary there was with any type of, I don't know, I guess it was the only kind of like semi-legit documentary. I remember renting it from our local library and watching it a bunch. But then when the anthology came out, that one was completely not important to me anymore. So I'm sure it will come out on DVD if they can do it. Are there actual Beatles songs in that? I don't remember. If there are, they're gonna have a hard time clearing that for an official legal release. Robert, did you miss the trivia? Unfortunately, yeah, we had the trivia, and I think it went well, and people are submitting their questions right now. I'll do more of this, by the way. I'll probably have another trivia contest at some point in the future. Let's see. I'm trying to answer some of these questions. Desert Island, I had to pick one Beatles album to bring to Desert Island. I would pick Revolver, but that's a very, very hard question. But I would pick Revolver, I guess. And I would say Revolver because it has a lot of sentimental value for me. It's the first Beatles album I ever bought on my own, and I just have a lot of magical kind of memories attached to that one. Winston asks, what do you expect for the Get Back film that Peter Jackson's working on? I expect it to be really, really great. That trailer was mind-blowing. It looked amazing, and I think there's going to be a lot of controversy around it, though, just because it's a controversial time period. It's like the Beatles themselves, rather, have such mixed memories about that time period, because for a long time they all talked about how miserable it was as a car goes driving by. But then recently it seems like Paul and Ringo have now been kind of changing their tune and saying like, actually it wasn't that bad. And that actually Michael Lindsay Hogg just decided to put all the bad parts in the original one. But anyway, so I think there is going to be a bit of controversy in the sense of, obviously Peter Jackson's going to try to show that it was an upbeat time and it was all fun and whatever. So either way, it's going to be cool to have another Beatle project released and finally see to Get Back, Let It Be movie in really nice quality. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. That's true. Mr. Biscuits brings up a good point. If you want to participate in the trivia, you could go back and watch all the questions, but you have to submit all your answers, though, by the way, within the next 10 minutes, because at 1 o'clock my time, that's when I'm going to stop taking submissions for the trivia. So make sure you get your email in there before 1 o'clock my time. Let's see. David says he tried to get him to like, you tried to get me, Mr. Mayo, to like Badfinger and Big Star. Yeah, you know, Badfinger is amazing, obviously. And Big Star is one of my all-time favorite bands. So I highly recommend Big Star. I see me, Mr. Mayo, literally just started his own chat. I just saw that come up. I wouldn't be at all offended if any of you went over there to watch his. That's okay. Let's see. Asaf, am I saying your name correctly? If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But he asks, I recently picked up an EP of the Beatles covers, cashing in on their success. Oh yeah, there was a bunch of those bands at the time that came out with their own versions of Beatles songs, and kind of a waste of time. Thank you, FrameZ, for saying that you like my videos. I really appreciate that. Do I prefer Lennon or McCartney? That's an impossible question. But I do love Paul. I do love John. I guess if I had to choose, I'd probably favor Paul a little bit more, just because I love playing bass and I love Paul's bass playing, and so I've always kind of studied him in that sense. So I guess if I had to choose, I would choose Paul. Did I ever pick up Beatles laser discs? No, I don't have any Beatles laser discs. I had a chance to get the Beatles anthology on Laserdisc, but I decided not to buy it because I don't have a Laserdisc player, and I would just be keeping it to collect, and then I got to find somewhere to store it. It's a whole thing. Hello, Paul, fit to be tie-dyed. Nice to see you in here. Mr. Biscuits says, my mentioning Revolver reminds him that he's always thought it'd be cool that there are original pressings out there that have the withdrawn mix of Tomorrow Never Knows. Yes, there are early mono pressings of Revolver that have a different mix of Tomorrow Never Knows, and it's very cool to listen to. I don't own one myself on vinyl, but I have a digital vinyl rip of that particular pressing, and it's fun to hear that different version of Tomorrow Never Knows, that's for sure. Not different version, different mixes, I should say. The White Album is a UK stereo number. Oh, okay. You're saying that's your UK stereo. That's awesome. Thank you, David. I appreciate that you like the videos. FrameZ says he prefers Lennon because his voice. He kind of prefers Lennon because of his voice. Yes, John Lennon has one of the best voices of all time. That's for sure. Let's see. Saul says he still hasn't heard that mix. Where can he find this vinyl rip? Unfortunately, it's just a bootleg. I have a friend, another YouTuber, who he sends me a bunch of vinyl rips on CDRs. I made a video, I think, about some of the ones that he sent me. His name's Bert. He's a really nice guy. He sends me so much stuff. It's greatly appreciated. He sent me that particular one that has that mix on there. But I think you could maybe you could find it on YouTube. I don't know. Probably not, actually, because of the copyright stuff. But it's out there, that's for sure. If you do any bootleg download sites or something like that, I'm sure it's available. Take 11 versus take 8. Are you referring to? What's that in reference to, David? Oh, Tomorrow Never Knows. Take 11, take 8. Okay, got it. William says he prefers Lennon. McCartney has great songs. His albums aren't too solid front to back. A lot of filler, a lot of silly love songs. Yeah, But to be perfectly honest, in my opinion, I think some of John's solo albums are kind of they were a little bit iffy. They weren't like front to back perfect in any way. He did have some that were that way. Like obviously, Imagine, Plasticona, and Plasticona Man are two perfect albums in my opinion. I also think Walls and Bridges is a fantastic album from start to finish. Um, but like I wouldn't say, and as much as I love it, by the way, like I love Mind Games, but I don't think Mind Games is a perfect album from start to finish. Same with like the Rock and Roll album. I don't think it's a perfect one from start to finish. Same with Double Fantasy, and definitely true with Sometime in New York City. Um, but I still love all those albums. Let's see. I am saying your name. Fine. Okay. I'm glad. The reason you mentioned the cheap covers EP is because it's the one in which Jimmy Nicol is on drums. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Jimmy Nicol performed with the Beatles. Yeah, that is really interesting, actually. What songs are on the EP? I imagine it's just like the early Beatles songs. The John Barrett tapes bootleg has it. Okay, yeah. The John Barrett tapes are very interesting, by the way. Do I know of Sid Barrett and do I like Pink Floyd? I know of Sid Barrett for sure. And do I like Pink Floyd? I like Pink Floyd. I don't love Pink Floyd. There are people that are just obsessed with Pink Floyd, and I get that they were a groundbreaking band, very original, and obviously I love like The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon, and yeah. As far as the Sid Barrett time period, though, I'm not all that familiar with that stuff. Um, I need to dive way more into that, to be perfectly honest with you. Winston says, replace the Beach Boys poster behind me with one of the Beatles. You know, um, at one point we did have a Beatles poster hanging up there, but we actually just moved this Smile poster from the living room into the bedroom. My wife's suggestion, by the way, and she was perfectly right. It fits nicely. We got a new bedspread here. It's this kind of like green color, and it matches. See that poster. My wife has a great eye, so she said, let's put that poster in this room. So here we are. But I do have some Beatles stuff in this room, but you just can't see it. Like the Butcher cover is actually up there, and there's the Let It Be poster, and there's a photograph I have of the Beatles playing live. And see, luckily my wife is a big Beatles fan as well, so she likes this stuff as well in our house hanging up. So there you go. Let's see. Do I dislike the Sgt. Pepper movie? The Bee Gees Sgt. Pepper movie? Yeah, I don't really like it. There's some interesting kind of funny bits, like when George Burns does he do 1M64, I think? That's kind of cool and interesting. But I generally don't really like it all that much. Potato says he has a Revolver second pressing. That's very cool. Florist says, hi, a year ago I won a version of Planet Waves. I had to send my address information, but I never heard from you. Florist, I definitely sent that to you. Do you live outside of the U.S. by chance? If you do, there's a chance that was somehow lost within the crazy international mailing. If that's true, if you really did not get it, send me another email, by the way, and I'll send you something. I'll make that right. That's terrible, by the way. I'm sorry that happened. A year ago. Interesting. Let's see. Frame Z, you have to listen to Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Yeah, I've heard about that album, and I do need to listen to that. Songs on the EP are She Loves You. Oh, okay, yes, this is the typical early Beatles songs. Thank you, David. You like our bedspread? It's pretty cool. I think we got that as a wedding gift, actually. Hey, love your channel. Thank you very much, Keith. Have I ever heard the secret Beatles reunion in 1976? It was quickly dismissed as a hoax, but interestingly enough, the timeline in Keith Badman's book, it's possible. I heard about that, but I kind of doubt the. I doubt that it actually happened. Yeah, I just kind of doubt it. Also, at this point, it seems like Paul or Ringo would have, mentioned something about it. Um, of course, we know that in the '70s there were three Beatles together a number of times. Like when they recorded Ringo's "I Am the Greatest," you had John and George and Ringo, and then Paul and John and Ringo hung out here on the West Coast when John was on his last weekend. Um, so yeah, there were those moments, but I don't think all four of them were ever in the same room ever again. The closest it got was when they were going to sign the the document that finally dissolved the Beatles partnership. I think that was in '74, maybe '75, one of those, maybe '74, and all the Beatles were in New York, and Paul, Ringo, and George were all at the Plaza Hotel waiting for John to show up, and John didn't show up because he said that the stars weren't right or something like that. And John ended up signing that document a couple months later in Florida at Disney World. So that's kind of crazy. Um, Pet Sounds, poor cover, no Pet Sounds on the record. I own 6 different versions. Heavy ballad album. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ballads on it, that's for sure. I just love it. I mean, that's just my vibe. What was that Klaatu album? Klaatu. I don't know much about that. I just know that people thought that band were actually the Beatles, but of course they were not. Um, let's see. The best Bob Dylan record is a tie between Live in '66 and Blonde on Blonde. Okay, that's cool. I like both of those. I love Blonde on Blonde. If I had to pick one Dylan album, I'd probably pick Blonde on Blonde. William asks, have I ever had a chance to listen to the Beatles mono albums on a mono cartridge? I always wanted to hear that there is a difference. I have had that chance. This guy I worked for a while had a dedicated mono cartridge and mono setup, and there is a big difference. Unfortunately, it's like you got to invest a lot of money to have a dedicated mono setup. Of course, there are ways where you can take your stereo cartridge and just kind of, you can get like a Y connector and turn it into a mono signal. I personally don't have a problem listening to mono records on a stereo cartridge. I think they sound fine. But, there's a big debate on that for sure. And to be perfectly honest with you, the only mono records I really listen to are Beatles and Beach Boys mono pressings of stuff. Let's see. Also has Beatles for Sale first pressing. That's very cool. Is that mono, I would imagine? Oh, Floris, I remember now. Yeah, so you live in the Netherlands. Yes, I 100% remember this now. Um, I think I didn't. I think I didn't know because on YouTube, it's like everyone has their own screen name, and I think with your email, I couldn't find your email or something like that. And that record, I don't know what happened with that. So send me another email with let me know that this is you, your YouTube name is on here. Send me another email to my needlemeetsvinyl@gmail, and we'll talk on there, and we'll sort that all out. Because I 100% remember that now. That's a drag though. I'm sorry it didn't get to you. That sucks. I've actually had a couple of times with my website where people from like it seems like it's the Netherlands and like Belgium. There was this guy who for a long time was buying a bunch of records from me in Belgium, and I'd sent them out there, and like I think he bought like 10 records, and 4 of them came back. They came all the way back to me, and he was really nice, and I resent them to him again, and I think 3 of them made it, and one of them came back a second time. So it was like all this crazy stuff going on with the international shipping. So I do apologize for that. It's just, it gets crazy. And normally with these contests, I try to keep them within the U.S., but I don't want to exclude anybody also because it's fun to have everyone participate. So, but I do apologize for that. So yeah, send me an email. We'll work it out. Did I hear George's demo of "It Don't Come Easy"? Yes, I actually just listened to that a couple of nights ago. It's very, very cool. It kind of clues you into how much George had his input in that song. But I do like that demo. It's really cool. Let's see. Do I like the 66, 67 Frank Zappa or 69 Hot Rats? I'm not a big Frank Zappa fan, to be perfectly honest with you. Obviously, I consider him an amazing, groundbreaking artist, and he's a phenomenal guitar player, that's for sure. And by the way, every time anyone that ever played with Frank Zappa and his band were always amazing musicians. So I have a lot of respect for Frank Zappa, but I don't know his albums all that well. David wants to know the best Beatles year. That's pretty hard to answer. I guess I would say 1966 for me, just because I love Revolver, and they also started Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane in 1966. So, or at least Strawberry Fields they started in 66. So I'll go with 66. Yes, so the trivia is done. I haven't checked my email yet, but what I'm going to do is once the stream is over, I'll check that, make sure everyone got it correct, and then we'll go from there. And we'll decide. I'll email who the winner was. Although I guess I could do it on stream, but it might take a little while. And it might be pretty boring for everyone to have to sit and watch me doing typing and looking things up. So we'll chat a little bit more here, and then once I'm done with the stream, I will definitely check the emails and I'll let you all know who the winner is. David wants to know, do you have lots of colored vinyl? I wouldn't say I have lots, but I definitely have some pressings that are on colored vinyl. But I generally don't really like colored vinyl just because it's usually a little bit noisy, I've found. It's also tends to be a lot of modern, almost all the modern pressings would be on colored vinyl. And I don't buy a lot of modern pressings for myself. But I do have some, like there are some bands that I love that release albums that are on colored vinyl, and that's what I end up getting. But like, the most recent colored vinyl I got was Egypt Station on red vinyl. And I didn't really seek that out, but that was just the one that I ended up buying. So. Let's see. Potato says I should do more of these. Well, thank you. I like doing them. I used to do these pretty a lot more often, but I don't know. I don't know why I don't do them that much anymore. I guess just because I don't know. I always want to try to make them fun and be in the right frame of mind to chat and stuff like that. So I think that's why maybe I don't do them as often as I used to do them. Got to be in the right frame of mind to do it. William says, for me, the most interesting thing I discovered when buying the Beatles' early pressings is how great George Martin was. That's very true. Beatle records always sound so much better than other pressings from that time. Yeah, I would tend to agree with you there. Well, and really that goes. You gotta. George Martin for sure gets a lot of credit, but also the engineers. I won't say who the engineer was on those early ones because that's one of the trivia questions. Actually, I can say it now because the trivia's over. So like Norman Smith, but also EMI Abbey Road. They trained their engineers. They trained their producers. They had really good gear. They always recorded things in the best way possible. And that can't be said for a lot of other 1960s recording studios that cut a lot of corners, and maybe they weren't using the best stuff with the best people, but luckily the Beatles music was recorded in top-notch fashion. Yes, and Jeff Emmerich as well, obviously. Um, what do I think of Brian Wilson's solo project? What do I think is Brian Wilson's best solo project apart from Smile? Um, I liked getting it over my head. I thought that was really good. Um, but I also liked that Lucky Old Son. I thought that was a good project as well. Brian Wilson for me, it's a little bit the stuff he releases now. It's a little bit hard to kind of, at least for me, to just sit down and like listen to it front to back. There's it's a lot of effects going on his vocal, and it kind of bugs me a little bit. But the songs are really great, obviously. So yeah, that's my take on that. Is there a big sound quality difference between the colored vinyl and picture discs? The picture discs that I've listened to, I can just speak to from what I've heard. The picture discs generally sound pretty bad. I don't know why that is. I would suspect it's because they are made out of different material. So, and by the way, there is some colored vinyl that sounds really, really good. Some early, like there's some jazz records like on the Fantasy label that were pressed on clear red vinyl, like some Dave Brubeck stuff that sounds really, really nice and really quiet. So it's possible to have colored vinyl that's really superior. But generally speaking, colored vinyl that's pressed in modern times isn't all that great from my experience. What's my favorite post Pet Sounds Beach Boys album? Sunflower is my answer. I love Sunflower, it's great, but I love a lot of their later albums, like Holland. I love Carl and the Passions. I like a lot of them. Surf's Up, obviously. Asaf says, I'm not sure George wrote Most of You Don't Come Easy Like It May Seem. He was making a demo to help Ringo sing it. Yeah, I think you're right. He was definitely making a demo to help Ringo sing it. But I think George did have a big hand in it, though. It's kind of like Octopus's Garden as well. George, if you've seen Let It Be, there's that great scene where Ringo's playing Octopus's Garden for George, and George is helping Ringo. George is literally giving Ringo chords and saying, you could go here for the bridge, and that's a big help when it comes to songwriting. I mean, that's a full-on co-writing position, in my opinion. Of course, it's credited just to Ringo, but I think George had a big hand with helping Ringo, and Ringo's even said that before as well. Not to take away from Ringo at all, by the way, obviously, because you got to have the original idea and all that kind of stuff. But William says I should do a live stream listening party, put on an album, and talk about it as an open discussion between you and those in the chat, like a DVD. That'd be pretty cool. The audio quality wouldn't be that great, unfortunately, I feel like. But I could definitely do that. I think I did do a stream once where I did play. I think I would ask people if there's certain things that they wanted to hear from my collection. I would play certain records. I did do that. Unfortunately, if I do something like that, I can't then keep the live stream on my channel. I have to delete it because of the copyright and all that headache and all that stuff. So, but yeah, it is a good idea. I should do that sometime. There are so many times, by the way, I gotta say, there are so many times when I'm making my videos that I want so badly to just play just a little excerpt from one pressing and another pressing, just to show you all what I'm hearing. Because I think even over YouTube, I'd be able to show you, like, example A is so much better than example B. It would be so great to be able to just actually play it and show you, but I can't. So there you go. David says Blue Note records are the best jazz records, right? There are a lot of excellent albums on the Blue Note label, and a lot of them that sound great. I don't think that statement, though, is always true. There are some great jazz records on like the Verve label, on the Columbia 6i Like, for example, like Time Out by Dave Brubeck Quartet is on the Columbia label, and the 6i pressing is stereo is amazing. So, but Blue Note, of course, yeah, has a lot of great pressings, like a lot of Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. There are some great classic jazz records on there. Coltrane released an album on Blue Note. Yeah, but really, it's, you know, that's the thing about records, is that even a certain label might have a bunch of great pressings of records, but it was only for like a short period of time. I don't think there's even one label I can name that just consistently put out excellent sounding records throughout their whole time as a label. I don't think I can really name any label that did that. Probably if I had to, like Columbia Records, I will say Columbia Records put out pretty solid pressings of records for a long time, like in the late 50s to like the early 70s. They had some really nice records that were consistent, from my experience. I'm just speaking of my experience now. Potato says, Potato, I assume your name is not actually Potato, but I'm going to call you Potato. Potato says, I have 2 Beatles second pressings, and I'm wondering if I should sell one of them, with the Beatles. With your great dad's permission, how much would it go for? Where should I sell? Okay. First off, are they? I'm assuming they're UK, because all the ones you've mentioned before have been UK. And if it depends if it's mono or stereo. If it's mono, you can get more, and if it's in good condition, obviously you can get a lot more. What I would recommend doing is going on eBay and they're both mono. Okay, I would go on eBay and I would look to see, type in with the Beatles UK mono, and then see how much they've sold for in the past that other people have been selling them for. See how much, and get like an average price there, and that's how I would base it off of as far as selling it, because that's what the market, that's what people are willing to pay for it. But if you don't need the money, I would recommend just holding on to those records, because they're just going to go up in value, because it's getting harder and harder to find original UK pressings of Beatles albums from the 60s. That's just a fact. And I'm speaking from knowledge, because I literally am searching for those all the time, every day. That's what I do. And they're really hard to find, and they're really expensive. So it's a great investment that you have there. So I would hold on to them. That's my personal opinion. Of course, if you need the money, then you should sell them. Let's see. Asaf says, a picture disc is literally a clear flexi glued onto, yeah, okay. Yeah, they don't sound all that great. Winston says, how is the weather out there? The weather is very nice. It's a beautiful day today. The sun is shining. I can open this up and show you. Well, that was the wrong way. See, nice and sunny. Maybe a little too much sun. Well, now we got a little too much. There we go. But it's a beautiful day out here, and I'm very lucky to live. I feel lucky to live out here in California, and the weather is generally pretty nice. I will tell you. It's a ghastly 66 degrees. Feels warmer than that, though. Let's see. I agree that George co-wrote both Octopus Garden and Easy, giving quite a lot of input. Your point was that he just didn't write the song alone. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Okay, well, I just saw that the stream has been going for an hour and 20 minutes. So I think I'm going to end it here. But I, again, thank all of you so much for tuning in and participating in the trivia. I'm going to look at all the trivia answers, and I will choose a winner. I don't know I might make a video announcing the winner, or maybe I'll just email. I will. Whoever has won, by the way, I will email you, and we'll go from there. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and appreciate all of you so much. And talk to you later. And hey, bye for now. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a good Saturday. Now I got to figure out how to stop this.